And we are back across the conference, powered by Allstate with Sydney Staples. I am Ari Temkin, and there's no time to waste today because there's a lot to get to. We've got baseball, we've got lacrosse, we've got tennis, huge weekend of tennis to talk about. Well, let's start with softball, where there was a significant upset in the Big 12 softball championship. The Arizona State Sun Devils.
Oh my gosh.
Knocking off in-state rival 3-seeded Arizona, knocking off the home team essentially in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma State, the 2-seed, and then they knock off big bad Texas Tech. The top 3 seeds in the Big 12, boom, 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 about as impressive as a run as you could have.
It's literally history in the making what we just witnessed happen. And what's interesting is when you and I discussed last week, all right, our own little bracket, both you and I had Arizona taking them in the first round, let alone all of a sudden
Right.
I'm seeing on Instagram on Saturday, oh my gosh, Sun Devils with the upset over the Red Raiders. I go, oh, guys, are we seeing this? Wow, our bracket was busted.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how would Arizona match up against Oklahoma State and which one would be the better competition for Texas Tech.
Yep, and here we are. How much of that do you think is really because of Kenzie Brown? I mean, going against the nation's best offense in the Red Raiders, her stats were crazy. I mean, the team batting average wise was crazy. Season low 2 hits. I want to be her right now.
Yeah, what she did against Texas Tech, to your point, the best offense in college softball, limiting them to 2 hits. This was a team in Texas Tech that had not given up a run in 2 straight Big 12 championship series. So not in any round last year, not in any round this year up until that point. And they had just been coming off a series which they completely demolished Kansas.
Yep.
Yeah, it was so far to the blue. And when you think about, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Arizona, UCF, Kansas, Arizona State, all getting into the dance.
Mm-hmm.
That automatic bid for Arizona State is huge for the conference and shows just how good this conference is.
7 Big 12 teams are making it. We have Texas Tech and Oklahoma State hosting regionals in and of themselves. ASU, who they play against McNeese, and it really makes me think of just right now how relevant McNeese is because of the recent past 2 men's basketball tournaments and everything. But who knows, they could potentially face Texas A&M and UConn, Texas Tech. They're going to be hosting Marist first before they could potentially be playing BU. Have to do a little Patriot League shout out. Come on. I wish it was my Mountain Hawks, but it's okay. And also potentially playing the likes of Ole Miss. OSU, what do you think about this? They are going to be hosting Princeton and Stanford. Are you worried in that regional? Considering the fact that OSU lost in the Big 12 tournament, I am.
Yeah, and Ruby Malin, I mean, she was knocked around a little bit, by Arizona State. Now, you just credit Arizona State and how explosive their offense was in that 3-game, stretch in Oklahoma City. I tend to focus on more of the positive. Look, Stanford's really good. That's going to be a very tough out for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
But I think with Ruby Malin being more dialed in, understanding like where are the ways in which Arizona State touched me up, I think that's for both Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. It was more of like a come to Jesus moment for them in terms of like this could end very quickly, and our goals are to get to the Women's College World Series. I think both teams still very well could get there.
Okay.
The tougher roads now because of their losses to Arizona State.
Your Jayhawks, first time that they're making it to the postseason in a decade, over a decade, by the way, since 2015. What I find interesting is they could potentially face the number 1 seed in Oklahoma. Now, here's the thing. That is
tough region.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But here's the thing. So be it. At this point, I would have said that it was a really tough path for the Sun Devils to get where they got. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah, and look, I mean, you mentioned it. This is the first time Kansas softball is making the NCAA tournament in a decade. So I'd say getting there, having the coach of the year in the Big 12, this is a program game changer. Last year in baseball, and we'll get to that coming up, Kansas made the NCAA tournament for the first time in a long time, and they were 2 and they were out. They were one of the first teams eliminated. So same thing could happen to them this year, but they're building on something. And I think from a program standpoint, that's what you got to do. Like you've got to, it's very much continual steps. It's not like in men's basketball or football where you can really use the portal to change your luck year over year. I mean, you can, but there are fewer teams in softball playing the portal that way, like they are men's basketball and women's basketball and in football. So I look at Kansas and say, like, regardless of what they end up doing, look, they can win that regional for sure. Will they? Probably not. This is the best team and best program in women's college softball. But huge season for them. Incredible to get here. And I'd say the same about all 7 teams, the Big 12. Obviously, Texas Tech has aspirations to go far, and we'll see. They've had some touch-ups this year, so it's interesting to see how they rebound from this.
Let's recap. We have 7 Big 12 teams making it into the postseason for softball. It's ASU, Texas Tech, OSU, Arizona, UCF, Kansas, and Baylor.
Let's go. All right, on the baseball side of things.
Yep. WVU sweeping Kansas. Wow.
So Kansas.
Sweeping. Get the brooms out.
A week ago.
Can we mention on the road? No, he was on the road. Sorry.
A week ago, we talked about a team that had won 10 straight, 17 of 20.
Yep.
And now they've lost 4 straight. They lost the midweek game against Creighton in Creighton, and then they come home and get swept by WVU. So they're getting cold at the wrong time. Now, look, it was the first home losses for Kansas in Big 12 play this year. They suffered 3 of them, including a run rule 13-2, the final game of the series.
That had to hurt. Ooh, that had to hurt.
Yeah, and especially because they were down 1-0 and then came back and they were up 2-1, and then it's lights out. But look, that just left the door open for West Virginia, for UCF, for some of these teams to potentially win the Big 12. So if Kansas takes care of business this weekend, all is well, and they can still win the Big 12. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens this weekend, because Kansas was a team that was surging like could be a World Series team. And now, if they continue to play like this, they could be 1 or 2 and done in the regionals.
We could have argued Kansas was the best team in collegiate baseball a week ago. But now, how about the Cowboys? What's going on in Stillwater? I mean, we were just saying that maybe OSU is one of the bigger disappointments in Big 12 play. Meanwhile, you could argue they're the hottest team in the nation. They're taking 2 of 3 games from ASU, another one of those top contenders in Big 12 conference play. They're 5th in Big 12 now. I mean, their 8-game conference winning streak was snapped on Sunday. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that they're concluding the regular season with 4 games coming up this week. We have Oral Roberts before they host Arizona, which you could argue is something they have in the bag as an easy way to finish off that regular season, considering the Wildcats haven't played as well either.
And there are now, 5 teams in the Big 12 in the top 25, which speaks to the depth of this conference. Cincinnati being a top 25 team, like, this is huge for a league that, a few years ago looked to be dead in the water. And it's new teams emerging, and you can see the ways in which those teams are investing in their programs. It's really cool to see. Look, TCU, they need a big series this weekend against West Virginia. That's a huge one. And then obviously Kansas and BYU will help go a long way in deciding the fate of this conference. But final weekend, there's a lot at stake. It should be very, very interesting. We'll have a lot to discuss on next week's show as we prepare for the Big 12 baseball tournament in a few weeks away. Should be a lot of fun. On the way next, let's talk tennis, because Big 12 is very much up to the task in the NCAA tennis tournament, plus lacrosse. It's all coming up as we get you caught up on what's going on across the conference here, powered by Allstate on Big 12 Studios. Welcome back. We're across the conference along with Sydney Staples. I am Ari Temke. Make sure to follow along on Instagram, because this is only half the show. You're missing a big portion of Sydney and myself on IG, so make sure to follow along right there.
You'll giggle a lot. We promise that. Whether it's at us or with us, you will giggle.
Mostly at me and with Sydney.
I like that you understand now. You're finally getting it.
Only took me a few months.
It's okay.
To realize that I was the joke.
When you get it, you get it. If you know, you know.
I still don't even fully realize it, which shows why I am old. All right, Ella Boyer, the freshman of the year in Big 12 softball, will join us coming up in the next segment here on the show as Ella gears up to the NCAA tournament. But let's talk NCAA tournament, shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
Lacrosse?
Women's lacrosse, Colorado. Are you kidding? Beating Denver. It's their second round matchup. I would argue that this dream season of theirs is continuing to march on. It's the first berth in the NCAA quarterfinal in Colorado, women's lacrosse program history.
Wow.
It's the first Elite Eight tournament appearance of any kind since the women's basketball team back in, guess it, 2002. Okay, you're still older than that, thank goodness. And finally, Colorado was down 4-1 early in this matchup with Denver, but come back, you dig out of a 3-goal deficit, the largest comeback of the entire season for the Buffaloes. It was a rematch of back in April when they played Denver. I'll say, wait with them.
Were you not born before 2002?
I just wanted 2000.
Okay, you said that. I was like, were you not? That's
that
wild.
trend where it's like, what year were you born? And if they say 19, it instantly cuts out and it does like a dinosaur prehistoric.
You just made it.
I would, yeah, well, something like it. Our skeleton friend Mark made an appearance. You're going to be a skeleton here sooner than I will be.
Wow.
Ha ha!
How morbid. Yeah, what a season for Colorado. And given the Big 12's strength was Florida, this is a huge boost for a conference that needed it in terms of women's lacrosse. All right, tennis. Impressive showing, Sydney, for 4 teams to start off out of the Big 12 in the Sweet 16. Now we're down to the Elite 8. 3 of the Elite 8 teams are Big 12 teams. That is an unbelievable number, and we'll see how many of them get into the Final Four.
Yeah, Arizona, TCU, Baylor. Used to be UCF until they lost to who is notoriously one of the best tennis programs in Wake Forest. But now we're looking at Arizona beating number 9 Oklahoma, Baylor winning 4-3 over Pepperdine. My friend Carl might cry a little bit over that, but it's okay. And then, the Horned Frogs, a 4-0 shutout against Stanford, didn't even drop a single set. Good showing for Big 12 overall.
Well, and now Baylor gets their hand at number 2 Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So think about all those years in which Baylor and Texas and the rivalry have gone back. That's a huge opportunity. And then TCU gets 3-seeded Ohio State, with the Wildcats face the reigning NCAA champion Wake Forest. So 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom.
Yep. For
the Big 12, but they're going to all earn it if they get to a Final Four. And it'd be amazing to see 3 of the 4 Final Four teams to be Big 12 teams after coming off major upsets. I'm not going to call it, but still, to be in position with 3 of the Elite 8 out of the Big 12, that's remarkable.
I wish they kind of took I would love to see a clay court. I know it's not going to happen. Like, given the fact that we're in Roland Garros season, everything that's happening over in Paris, red clay season, I just wish we could see a little bit of funness. Add a little spice and a twist to potentially the Final Four matchups that we could be seeing, but I digress.
We expected TCU to be here. We
Yep.
did not expect Arizona to be here. It's been an unbelievable season for Arizona tennis.
I would say, in general, Arizona, Baylor, TCU, what they've done this season, I think, is stellar. A fun word a producer Casey just used a little bit ago. But I expect myself to see TCU actually going farther than either of the two. But we'll report back to you next week.
Of course. All right, crazy stat of the week. We do it each and every week.
Yep.
What's your crazy stat of the week? And we'll
All
see
right.
if mine's better.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert, it will be.
Oh, we'll see. Okay, Kenzie Brown, listen, when you have a 7-inning complete game shutout in the Big 12 championship over Texas Tech. Let me read you the final stat line, okay? I don't think you're ready for this. All right, 0.5 ERA, pitched 16 strikeouts. Let's talk about some clutch Ks from Katie herself, okay? Next, we have 14 innings pitched. She pitched more than 1 strikeout on average per inning. Hello?
That's insane.
Try to top that. Thank you. And only allowed 1 run in 4 walks. And I have to say this again. You pitch a shutout over the Red Raiders to win it all. Good luck.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Maxiel. Now, look, it's hard to top because Kenzie did it against, Texas Tech team in the Big 12 tournament championship.
Mm-hmm.
But the stakes were not as high, but the stakes were very high. West Virginia needed a sweep in order to be in position to potentially win the conference. And boy, did they get an unbelievable performance from Maxiel, who went into Lawrence, place that Kansas had not lost all season in Big 12 play, and a complete game, 125 pitches, dominating with 9 strikeouts. Did I mention you went complete 9 innings? It's as dominant of a pitching performance as we've seen in baseball this season, especially given the stakes, trying to compete to win a Big 12 championship, and the stage at a ballpark that Kansas has never lost in Big 12 play.
Now, a pitcher that we've talked a lot about is Dominic Daly. What he's done for the Jayhawks. To see a pitcher matchup like that was exciting. Don't get me wrong. Okay, fine. But Here's a similarity I do see. If maybe we can come to terms and not be at each other's throats about this, is that
She's losing because you could tell she's trying to justify it. If
Babbling
she
a
were
little?
winning, she'd be dancing on my grave.
Whoa!
But she's not. So this shows you that she's lost. But go ahead.
I will say this before we toss to break. Don't even give me that look. I will say this. Both times, our two pitchers were up against the best team in the Big 12 Conference. So there's a similarity in all Redskins.
That's Sydney Staples. I'm Ari Tepkin. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world this week. And because I have the final say, that's the best part about this job. This is Across the Conference, powered by Allstate. On the way next, Ella Boyer, the freshman of the year in the Big 12 for Kansas softball, joins us. This is Across the Conference, powered by Allstate.
Everybody, welcome into Across the Conference, presented by Allstate, along with Ella Boyer of Kansas softball and Ari Temkin. My name is Sydney Staples. And Ella, I mean, this year for you has been one for the books, let's say. Alrighty. Describe this past year of softball and, so forth. Listen, you're not done yet, but how it's been in the regular season.
Honestly, it's just been amazing. Obviously, I can't do what I accomplished without my teammates. They have my back no matter what. And our coaching staff is just amazing. And I couldn't do any of this without them and their support, as well as my family back home.
Yeah, the unanimous Big 12 freshman of the year. I'm sure you had high expectations going into your freshman year, but did you anticipate, that?
I did not. I think it came to me as a shock when I first got the opportunities, and I think I just kept rolling with it. Obviously, I still can't do that without my teammates. They put in countless hours day in, day out on the field with us, as well as coming in early and staying late.
And on that, I mean, at what point did you, realize I can play at this level like this, because I'm sure at first you're probably, overwhelmed or you're not sure what to expect. So at what point were you like, oh yeah, I can do this?
I think it definitely started in the fall. We had some inter squads. We played Nebraska, we played Mizzou, and those were some for me, it was some tough outings in the fall. But then kind of getting where my feet is where I would what I had my schedule. Okay, I'm gonna go hit at this time, kind of get myself, work with the girls, and as well as show that I'm here, I want to be here and I'm ready to work.
As a catcher, how much do you handle the pitchers and pitches? Is that something that comes from coach and then you relay that? Just give us a sense here of your responsibility in the battery of the group.
Yeah, definitely. As a catcher, you have to have your pitchers back, and I think that is a really good job. Me and Bailey Mescla, our other catcher here at KU, that we do a good job. We communicate really well with our pitchers, as well as Drake is our catching coach, and he just helps us improve day in, day out, and as well as with Coach H. We always are relaying messages, if we go see their warm-up and they're like, hey, I'm not feeling too hot on this one, or hey, if she throws this, I want to come back and get her with this out.
Put a 0 up for the first time today. That may be tough as Boyer laces one over the wall. A 2-run shot. It had just enough lift to fight through the afternoon atmosphere here in Stillwater, and Boyer has her 18th home run of the season.
With Ella Boyer of Kansas softball, how do you approach the plate differently, whether you're hitting from behind it or catching?
I would definitely say, I think from a hitting standpoint, very aggressive. I know from a catching standpoint, we want our pitchers to throw strikes, and I think that correlates for hitting is that the pitchers are going to want to throw strikes to get ahead to throw their best pitches later on.
What do you like off the field? What do you like to do?
Yeah.
Okay, off the field, I do like to watch a lot of shows and movies. I have like a little obsession with sharks. I think
Oh,
sharks are
Okay.
really cool. I like to watch like Jaws and all the new shark movies that come out, I think are amazing. And I also has been like my little side hobby. I like to like sew and stitch clothes.
Wow.
I did
Okay.
not
Let's.
expect that to be an answer. I
Yeah.
didn't. I'm
So
staying
here,
far away from the movie Jaws, so Ella, I'm going to leave you to that one.
I'm also interested in the sewing clothes thing. So do you have like a sewing machine?
I do not. I hand stitch a lot of my stuff.
So are you like fixing your clothes or like making your own stuff?
Um, I'll like for instance, Ainsley Lindoff on our team, I had made a hoodie from like probably like 3 years ago, and I like she asked me to make her one, and I did a cross on the front with different fabrics. She brought me the like crew neck, and I just like sewed that on, and then she wanted like some words on the back, and I stitched those. I cut out the fabric and I stitched them onto the back.
And you hand stitch them.
Yes.
How long does that take?
On if I'm like on a roll with it, like that's all I'm doing that day, it'll probably take me a day to finish it. If it's like throughout a week, like if I have stuff to do that week, it's probably about a week, maybe like 4 days.
So are you like anti sewing machine?
I would love to have one. It's just like kind of like dorm life. I don't need
Totally.
all that stuff in my
Got it.
dorm and like my house. So I really like hand stitching because it also like calms me down. It's like I can like watch anything and keep going.
My gosh. All right, when the Jayhawks win the Women's College World Series, maybe we'll have a sewing machine sent to you as a present for doing it. All right, everybody. Ella Boyer, thank you so much for your time. We can't wait to see you guys and how you all perform the rest of this postseason. On behalf of Ella, Ari Temkin, my name is Sydney Staples, and this has been Across the Conference presented by Allstate.
Well, hearty thank you to Ella Boyer, the freshman of the year in the Big 12, for joining us here on Across the Conference. For Sydney Staples, I am Ari Temkin. Reminder, check us out on Instagram, where you're getting about half the show as part of our coverage. Of course, we're back next week. But for now, we're out. This has been Across the Conference, powered by Allstate on Big 12 Studios.